For you. Oh, thank you. I'll take it. Sorry. I'll take it. You good.
Good evening. Welcome to the regular city council meeting, May 13th, 2025. May we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Costa Junior,
Here.
Councilmember Fernez. Here. Councilmember Villegas. Here. Councilmember Hernandez. Here. And Mayor Julian.
Here, we have a quorum. Will you please stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance? Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation. Thank you. Next item is a moment of silence. Thanks, appreciation, condolences. Is there any council person that wishes to address one of those items? No? Good? Good, Gene? Okay, we're good. Moving right along, agenda review. At this time, the council will look at the agenda as scheduled. Is there a council person that wishes to change the order of business?
No.
We good? All right. Item 5 is community participation. For those of you that I want to comment on an item that's not on the agenda, this is the moment to do that. And Deborah, you didn't indicate on yours were you an open session or open the discussion? Oh, please.
I just want to say we had our first line dance class in the gym. It was wonderful. We had about 10 participants and we have some interest, and we hope as we get the word out, that'll increase. We also had our very first senior exercise class, which was also very successful. And we hope that will also improve and expand. And I also want to say that class anyone is welcome to that class, but it is geared towards older people. So we're sitting in,
What's older?
well, how old do you
21
feel?
and above? Okay.
Well, we
Okay.
sit in chairs and do weights,
Okay.
and then we also get up and do cardio,
Good.
but there's nothing crazy going on.
All right.
We're like trying to strengthen our
We're just
muscles,
moving around. That's
and we
great.
do balance
Okay.
and things like that. The other thing I wanted to talk about is on Memorial Day on the 26th, there will be an event at the Black Lake Golf Course, memorializing veterans. There'll be an honor guard. I'll be singing the national anthem.
Good.
And there'll be several bands playing that day. So bring your chairs. There's going to be food and drink. Just come on out and have fun. It's music from the 50s and the 60s.
Okay.
Thank you very
All right.
much.
Thank you. Albert Nunes.
Good evening. Just here to announce another event on May 26th. The American Legion Post, in concert with the Vietnam Veterans Organization and the Cemetery Administration, will be holding a ceremony starting at 10:30. And there'll be speakers. The Post would like to invite all the city council members to attend if you can. And Mayor Julian, there'll be something coming in the email to you.
Okay.
Specifically. Like I said, there'll be speakers, and then there'll be time to commemorate 11 a.m., which relates directly to the signing of the armistice of World War I on the 11th hour, on the 11th day of the 11th month. I've got that wrong, but
It's okay.
that's why. Okay. So that's what's happening, and you'll see more about this on Facebook.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nunes. Is there anyone else in the audience that?
I forgot to give times on things. Exercise classes this month, we're still working on getting it as a permanent event on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 10 a.m. in the morning in the gym. line dancing is at 6 o'clock in the evening or 6:30 in the evening in the gym on Mondays. And that will be ongoing. And the event on Memorial Day will begin at 12:30 at Black Lake Golf Course.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Okay, no further requests to speak on items not on the agenda. Seeing no hands, we'll go to item 6 is a consent calendar. These items are presented for approval without discussion as a single agenda item. Is there a council person that wishes to pull an item on the consent calendar? Anybody, any correspondence wishing to pull that? Any public?
No,
correspondence?
nothing on the
Okay.
consent.
Is there a motion to approve the consent calendar?
I'll motion to approve the consent calendar.
Okay.
I second.
Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All right, okay, thank you. The next item is the management reports. We'll start with city administrator. Information only.
Well, first, I would like to mention that I've received some contacts about wanting to hold a joint recreation and parks commission and city council meeting. So I'm asking the council to see if they're open to that idea. And the content or the subject would be what the role of the recreation commission is.
I think, well, you and I talked about that before in the past, and it would, to me, if we would have it in a regular session and have a carve out of about a half an hour to discuss that, as opposed to having a special meeting. So that good? Okay, so let's do that.
Okay, thanks. And
Can we do it at the next one? The next June, what's the June something?
27. Or no.
The
May
first-
27.
The
first
first
one in
one in June.
Okay,
Yeah, the Parks and Rec, which I'm not sure the date, the first Tuesday.
June 10th.
The first Parks and, what, this meeting or the Parks and Rec meeting?
This meeting.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So first meeting in June, or you went up the second meeting in May?
Let's go to June. Okay, we got a lot of things happening at the end of this month. so.
Okay. I guess we have so June, we'll do the first meeting in June. then.
Okay.
Okay. And I will mention, just as a follow-up, some of the items that are recreations going on is in fact, the senior fitness class, May 13th, May 14th, soccer class, football field at Jack O'Connell. At 5:30, drop-in volleyball. Thursday, May 15th, again, fitness class. Friday, May 16th, drop-in basketball at the auditorium. May 17th, Viva, big event starting at 3 o'clock. Sunday, nothing. Monday, dance again. Tuesday, senior fitness. May 21st is a city hall survey regarding the Lompoc City of Guadalupe. I think it's the carbon meeting. There's some kind of a survey on that. There's also soccer class, football field at Jack O'Connell, drop-in volleyball at 5:30 in the auditorium on the 21st, and on the 22nd, again, fitness class. Friday, May 23rd, drop-in basketball in the auditorium, and at 6 o'clock, poetry jam at the Betts Hall on May 23rd. Saturday, May 24th is the Cyclemania at Leroy Park. It starts. Just trying to get this stuff rolling. And also there's a 11:30 baptism event in the auditorium and first communion. And
This will be a big one.
yeah. There's a Memorial Day tribute. I think that was already mentioned. Another line dance on the 26th. May 27th, fitness again. May 28th, soccer class in football field at Jack O'Connell Field. Again, some more fitness classes and drop-in basketball. I just want to throw that out there. I will also give an update when we get to the Public Works Director. He's in his absence, so I'll wait for that unless you want me to do it now.
Any questions of Todd on the reports, the ABC that's noted?
I know that you mentioned Parks and Recreation meetings, but I know on May 29th, SPCAC is going to be here hosting
Oh,
Can we mention that maybe?
Yes, mention it now, so. That should be here. Well, this is easier to set up. Okay,
Yes,
Okay.
auditorium.
it's at auditorium.
Mhm.
Okay, I'll check on that calendar on that one.
Okay,
May
then-
29th.
May 29th.
Yeah, it's,
So May 29th, SB CAG will unveil proposed safety and mobility improvements for State Route 166. This will be a workshop here in Guadalupe from 4 to 7, Thursday, May 29th. This workshop will also be available in Santa Maria, Thursday, May 22nd, 4 to 7 p.m.
okay, great. Noted.
Yeah, that's to discuss the transition between, the work between Santa Maria and Guadalupe on Highway 166. Let's be good.
I have another question. What is a route for Cyclemania?
I don't have that handy with
Okay,
me.
no worries. Thank you.
If I can get it to you.
Isaias knows that, so.
Yeah.
Isaias Rosas?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, he knows that.
I'll get that, make sure that you're connected with that.
Okay.
I can send it also,
Oh, hey,
Okay.
how you doing? Where are you?
right here.
Okay.
Thank you, Chief.
I'll send it.
Is that Isaias or is that Chief?
That's chief.
You sound like Isaias.
See that good look?
Wow.
Okay. That's a compliment. Okay,
Okay.
okay. Okay, well, you're on now, Chief Director of Public Safety.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, council, staff, and citizens. Apologize, can't be there, but I'm gonna be on Zoom here. Before I get into some of our stats, just so you know, where I'm at, I finished last week, at the, FBI Academy. We have 50 chiefs throughout the country, of small communities. And we're just supposed to be talking about leadership, but, I got to do a hour training session on team building, which I've been working with our HR about doing team building for us at city. So I got to try it out with the FBI, which it went over very well. And I'm here in San Diego at this National Police Conference, and I just finished. I had 3 hours to do leadership and team building, and it was great. So I invited a whole bunch of them to come up to our place because we did what's called the Guadalupe case study, talking about crime and community participation. And just a little bit concerning one of the letters that kind of came out, we're still the lowest crime in the county of Santa Barbara, and between number 15 and 18 in the state as far as safest cities. So now on the ugly side of that, real quick, is we had a pistol whipping case, 800 Guadalupe on 5/12. A suspect was injured, and it started off as really as far as two people, domestic violence kind of thing, but one person got pistol whipped. But then on the 700 block of Guadalupe, we had a sexual assault there at Roy's Liquor. That was a male on male issue. We know who the suspect is, just a matter of trying to find that one. And then at Second and Capadonico, we had a child that was hit by a vehicle. The child did go to the hospital. They had a broken tibia and a broken fibula, but it was the child that pretty much was the main reason, as far as inattention, that got hurt. Concerning vendors, I was there for 2 days. I was there Saturday. I got back in town and spoke. We had one illegal vendor around 700 block of Guadalupe. Matter of fact, I think it was Sunday. It was Mother's Day. And I had the officer come over and talk with them. They had talked about a permit, and also the person that was at 300 Guadalupe. So as soon as I get back, try to put a meeting together with Alice and finance concerning the permit process and what's going on. I think it might be an aspect of we're not really. Yes, sir. Thank you. I'm sorry. I'm in a hotel conference room. We're not really communicating with each other. That's something that we have to kind of work on. The other thing too is, last week we had 14, medical cases that we responded to. So that is really kind of an uptick. And also, with code compliance, we had sent the letter out to Snowy Plover. His time up was on the 11th or the 12th. So we're going to be looking for a vendor to go out there. The weeds are at least 6 foot high, that are out there. So we're gonna get a vendor out there to cut it, and we'll end up charging him. On the commercial vacant enforcement aspect, we sent those letters out. We have not received one single response back. So reading how that works before we start looking at to send a fine, I hope I get a chance to have a conference with our city attorney, Phil, just so I make sure that we're crossing the T's and dotting the I's before we start down that path, that we do it correctly. Also, we've talked to the gentleman who owns the property at 10th and Guadalupe, the empty lot. Those weeds are overgrowing, and he was talked to today, and he said he'll get on it, but we're also going to send him a letter to make sure that he stays in compliance. The other thing that I would hope is, if council is interested, we would like to be able to give an update on the COPS money, the COPS grants money. There's $100,000 that comes to each city every year, at least since 2016, that is specifically designed for frontline law enforcement to handle special projects, special events, and so forth. We see this as a way for us, without tapping into the general fund, to deal with special projects, i.e. the 270 registrants. We have sexual gentlemen and ladies who have to register, and some of them have been changing addresses, which is against the law. It's one of those things where we need to get in our community to find out who exactly is registered and to check their status, and if not, be able to send them back to either county jail or to prison. So that's outside of our normal working kind of hours. They all register supposedly with our office, but we need to do home checks to make sure the address is correct. Also, as far as we dealt with the traffic at the schools, using those kind of funds, we wouldn't ask the schools or city council. I can go into that and be able to pay someone just for a couple hours here and there to kind of help with the school aspect as far as crossing. And then other kind of special details with some of the projects that keep popping up. As far as violence, we can do things and be able to pay for overtime, be able to pay for special projects. We got the Explorers that'll be helping with a bike event that's coming up, because we do not have enough personnel to monitor a lot of the traffic intersections. They're on board. Being able to have funds like that, I can at least somehow either compensate through lunch or something for their assistance. They're out there volunteering. So I'd like to have maybe some time with opportunity to explain what that COPS money is. It's been coming to us, but we just really haven't focused on being able to utilize that the way it's written in the statute, as far as it's supposed to be at least utilized with the chief's signature for whatever kind of special projects. That's how it is actually written. And so I would like to be able to present different options to city council so we can deal with special projects. With that is my report, unless there's any questions from council or community.
Any questions from council?
I have a quick question.
Sure.
Can you give me a little more information on the code compliance? What are we addressing? I think I missed that part.
Okay. The first one is vendors. Right now we've had a lot of pop-up vendors as far as the little carts, or for special holidays. I think everyone can see right there at Seamus in Maine, some of the food stands and other trinkets that are being sold. They're outside of our city boundaries. The county is supposed to be really kind of addressing that. Well, we've been having a couple that have been popping up within the city.
Chief.
And some say they
Chief,
have a
Chief.
permit.
Might not
Oh,
have-
I'm sorry.
I meant the vacant commercial buildings throughout
I
Guadalupe.
apologize. Yes, that has been, I think the mayor might even speak better to that. That's something that the council voted on, I think, a couple years ago. And we just never really had the time or personnel to go after, but it is where if there is, and I know the city attorney probably knows it, definitely knows it better than I do. Where if there's a business that has not been in operation, just been setting a commercial building, they're supposed to set a fee to pay a fee. And then they're also supposed to be able to provide us a plan within a certain time period of what they're going to do with that property. We've got a lot of properties that are just sitting and becoming an eyesore, not doing anything. So this is a way to at least get them into compliance, to be able to send to the city what are their plans with the building. It's just not going to sit empty. And if I kind of missed on that, Mr. City Attorney, if you need to add to that.
Awesome, thank you. I
So-
see some vacant buildings that need to be in code compliance. Do we know how many vacant buildings there are?
I don't have my list. I think when we went through the town, I think at least 12. And the question I had, but we finally figured it out. I wasn't sure if it was the entire building or it can be a space within a building. And it was also a space within a building. So I think we're about at least 12.
Thank you.
Any further questions of Chief? Staff, any questions? Okay. All right, thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Levels back. Item 9 is Public Works Director, and Todd's going to fill in for that.
Yes, thank you, Mayor and Council. There's a pretty extensive detailed report. I talked to the Public Works Director and I'll just do some highlights. For Pasadena, currently working with DJ Farms to try to figure out if they will replace the pumps and lift station earlier than planned as they are continuing to fail. So the city had to purchase due to the DJ Farms not replacing for up to 2 years out. A number of different items in here. If you have questions, I can go into it, but also David is putting together a computerized maintenance management system that's going to be more automated and sort of when there's work orders and whatnot, all the invoices will be tabulated and calculated. So he's doing a lot of good things internally. Just going down the streets, they installed a stop sign at Obispo and Buena Vista, and I personally got a thank you from somebody regarding that. They're really happy about that. He has also painted hold lines and center line and installed surveillance cameras and solar lights. For transit, of course, you know, he's working with Santa Maria Transit staff on the consolidation effort, and they've completed a MOU staff report resolution pending legal review. Going to the wastewater, moved the second aerator from pond 2 to pond 1 due to aerator failure in pond. And then the biologic dredging is complete. But there's a number of different items, but we highlighted these few just for your, you know, to put a spotlight on those items. Do you have any questions?
Any questions?
And that concludes his report. Thanks.
Okay. The next item is regular business. Item 10, adopt the resolution expressing support for the undocumented residents of Guadalupe and for existing state law Senate Bill 54, 2017. Todd.
Thank you, Mayor. On April 22nd, 2025, the City Council directed staff to prepare a resolution for City Council consideration to support undocumented residents of Guadalupe in the existing state law SB 54. Staff has prepared a resolution for the City Council to consider. The resolution expresses the city's support for undocumented residents of Guadalupe and affirms the city's support for and commitment to follow existing California state law SB 54 titled the California Value Act. Under SB 54, the Guadalupe Police Department is prohibited from participating in immigration enforcement except in limited specific circumstances. All City of Guadalupe policies and procedures are currently in compliance with SB 54, but the proposed resolution also provides that the city consider our city council will endeavor to spread factual information in all of its communication with immigrant communities, whether documented or undocumented. There's no fiscal impact to this, and staff would recommend that council approve resolution number 2025-23.
Okay, before we go out to the public, any comments or concerns, or do you want to hear from the public first? Okay, go ahead.
Chief, I had a question on, hang on, where it says, Guadalupe Police is prohibited from participating in immigration except in limited specific circumstances. Can you give us an example of one or two of those specific circumstances?
Well, I'm assuming you're saying participating in an ICE sweep, or am I incorrect?
That's what I understood, yeah.
Yeah, that's my understanding. You know, the only thing I look at this when we talk about participation, you know, whether it be physical or information, first of all, we don't have the information, so we couldn't really participate in that aspect. Because we do not keep any information of who might be documented or who might be undocumented. And as far as participation, we don't even have the personnel to be able to assist in that. So I don't see anything that we would really do to assist them other than staying out of their way. The only other assistance is if they wanted to use our office, I would assume, as either a staging area, but we do not have the capacity or legal holding areas to have anybody to be detained at our place for any large period of time. So that's the only ways I could see that they would either ask for any kind of assistance that we would kind of provide, but we do not have those capabilities, so I don't see anything like that happening.
Okay, we'll just go to there's several individuals that wants to speak, and we've had some also online correspondence or some letters written.
In the back.
They're in the back, but let's start with Javier Mondejar.
Sorry, I do have a couple more to submit.
Okay, please.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, good. Yeah.
Go ahead, sir.
All right. Yeah, good evening. My name is Javier Mondar Flores. I am with MyCup, specifically under the DECU Youth Group program. I'm here in behalf of the youth that I help serve in our program. Since this administration came into power, I've witnessed a crippling rippling effects within our community starting from the very first week. This fear deeply affects our most vulnerable population and trickles down to their children I support through my work with DECU Youth Group. I see these young people full of energy and dreams for the future, involved in sports, holding jobs and shaping their communities. Despite their ambition, they carry this weight of fear. In our weekly youth group leadership meeting, we checked in with our youth to see how they are doing under this new administration. And one by one, they confirmed that they're afraid for their parents, their sisters. These are youth ages 13 to 18, already are afraid that their parents might be deported. While this resolution does not completely eliminate ICE in our community, it provides reassurance that the traffic stop or law enforcement encounters will not automatically lead to fears of deportation. This helps prevent further distrust within our community with the law enforcement. So on behalf of our Indigenous youth leaders, I urge this council to adopt the resolution number 2025-23. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir.
Council member.
Next individual, Medea? Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Mayor, Council, audience. My name is Mireya Piña. I work in the community of Guadalupe. In my role, I oversee family advocates that work directly with the families here in Guadalupe, families from GUSD, families that aren't a part of the school district and they're just humans on the street. And I'm also just trying to shed a little light on the efforts that I've been working with alongside some of the other key members in the community of Guadalupe that support similar families, and also other folks who have contributed a lot to our immigrant support team to bring education so people know where they stand. I'm here to speak in support of this resolution. I really do hope that we're able to pass it. Just in my work, I get to first-handedly see the fear of family separation, fear of the city potentially collaborating with ICE. There's fear of losing benefits. There's a lot of fear. And I do feel like the adoption of this resolution would really support our community in the sense of reducing some of the stress and anxiety that we're seeing. I also think it's important to recognize that the majority of Guadalupe, almost 90% of the folks here are Hispanic Latino, and it's really safe. I also just really like to hear, I think I heard that part of the resolution includes sharing accurate information. And I think that was something that I really liked. And I also support, what else can I say? I have a lot of feelings.
Sure. Take your time.
I just want to say thank you. I think the city has already done a lot to support the community in the sense of just working with me and the team that I'm working with equally. And then I think lastly, I think this really just kind of formalizes that. So thank you for your efforts. Hope that we can continue to work together to support the families that are really concerned. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next individual, Teresa Suarez.
Good evening, Mayor Julian and council members. My name is Teresa Suarez. I am one of the coordinators for the Thank You Youth Program with MICUP, Mixteco Indígena Community Organizing Project, and a resident of Santa Maria. I am here today to urge you to formally adopt the resolution number 2025-23 in support of undocumented residents in the city of Guadalupe. Guadalupe is a home to one of the largest farm worker communities in Santa Barbara County. Many of our residents are undocumented and indigenous migrant families who speak Mixteco, Zapoteco, and other indigenous languages who are not a threat to our city. Every day, our community members, including youth, travel together with their families to Guadalupe to work in the fields. They've given their time, their bodies, in many cases, their lives, working in harsh, dangerous conditions to sustain the city and county. Like my own father gave his life during the pandemic, working in these very fields. Like many farm workers, he was called essential, but now treated like criminals. Let us be clear, ICE activity is not a legal issue, it's a human right issue. Videos have shown ICE agents using deceptive tactics, pretending to be police, creating a fear and instability, especially among farm working families and children. As one of the Thank You Youth shared, when I heard the election results, all my fears from third grade came rushing back. I still come home and afraid my parents won't return from work. We work hard, live paycheck to paycheck, and now we're treated like criminals. But we're human, we're essential. We're calling on the city of Guadalupe to adopt a resolution number 2025-23, publicly support Senate Bill 54 and end all collaboration with ICE and protect public resources from being used to harm our community. Please stand on the right side of history. say no to ICE and yes to the city rooted in dignity, justice, and inclusion. It was really nice hearing like all the activity that is going on in Guadalupe, and I feel like um, having that continuation will be great for the community, and you know, it'll be sad if it ends with the just fears, going around due to ICE. Thank you.
Thank you. Next individual, Elizabeth Ramirez.
Good evening, Mayor, Juliana, and council members. My name is Elizabeth Ramirez Berrigan, and I am the supervising immigration attorney with Michael. I am here today to strongly urge the council to formally adopt resolution number 2025-23 in support of the undocumented community in the city of Guadalupe. Over the past 3 months following the shift in federal leadership, we have witnessed a significant increase in immigration enforcement activities that have generated fear and instability within our communities, especially among our farm working families, youth, and children. I would like to share with you that I have experienced and seen firsthand what affects our undocumented community. MICOP's Immigration Legal Assistance Program, MILA for its acronym, has joined efforts with 805 UndocuFund and other organizations to provide rapid response to our farm working families. In the past 3 months, we have been referred to over 10 cases needing rapid response, assisting for family members that have been picked up by ICE. It is heartbreaking to receive the desperate calls by family members imploring us to help locate their family members and or prevent their deportation. One pattern that I have seen is that the arrest happens early in the mornings when clients are on their way to work. This is important to highlight because it negates the rhetoric that labels community members as criminals or that they have relied on the government for assistance. My clients are hardworking individuals who are up at the crack of dawn to work a heavy shift to provide for their families a better future. I implore the Guadalupe City Council to take a strong and principled stand as the city of Lompoc recently did by passing resolution number 2025-23 in support of its undocumented residents. Thank you.
Thank you. Next individual have Samuel Duarte.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, City Council members and staff. My name is Samuel Duarte. I work with Parents Leadership Development here in Guadalupe, in Lompoc. I've been working in Guadalupe for about 15 years, doing advocacy work and collaborating with the city as well. And today, as an immigrant child who came to the United States at 7 years old, and who experienced some of the fear that many in our community are feeling, I want to express support for tonight's resolution that would support some of our members in our community. And of course, our undocumented residents and the support for existing state law, Senate Bill 54. Many of us, as some of the folks who have spoken tonight have witnessed firsthand the fear that many in our community are experiencing. And I believe it's important and even heroic, especially when there's potentially, political repercussions when people in positions of power as yourselves stand up for those who cannot. And so I as my colleague Mireya mentioned, I want to commend the city for doing some of the work already in the background. I think that you doing what you've been doing is and collaborating really with other organizations is great. So thank you, and I hope that it passes through. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next person is Patrick.
Hello, everybody, Mayor, City Council, City Staff. I'm here to talk tonight about Resolution 2025-23 and my support for this action. There's an image that came to my head when I heard about ICE raids and these kind of things, and it brought me right back here to Guadalupe. And that image was taken in February of 1942. And that was shortly after the bombing of Pearl Harbor and the actions that were taken immediately after to, basically round up any Japanese people, many who lived here in Guadalupe, and send them to internment camps. That was first, second, and third generations of people, American citizens, who were shipped away. And that's a very powerful thing. And I think, that's a really ugly piece of our history, but it did happen, and it happened right here. And those kind of things can happen again if we allow them to happen. So I'm here to express support for this measure, and thank you for that. They say that history repeats, and it may not be repeating this time, but it sure does echo. So thank you very much for your consideration on this matter.
Thank you, sir. Next individual, Ronaldo Martinez. Nope. Oh, there it is. Yeah.
Good evening, Major Julian and council members. My name is Fernando Martinez, and I serve as a community organizing manager with the Mixteco Indigena Community Organizing Project. I personally come from indigenous descendant from the Mixteco community from the state of Oaxaca, Mexico. I'm a proud resident of the city of Santa Maria, and tonight I'm here to strongly urge you to adopt resolution number 2025-23, affirming your support for the undocumented community in the city of Guadalupe. Over the last 3 months, following the changes in federal leadership, we have seen troubling surge in immigration enforcement activity across the region. These operations have deeply taken a shake in our community, spreading fear, uncertainty, especially among the farmworking families, indigenous residents, and young people. As a community organizer, I have seen this fear take a real toll in the participation in our current labor rights workshop that has dropped significantly. Farmworkers have often told us that they're afraid that simply attending a community event could lead them to become a target for ICE. When people are too afraid to learn about their rights or their basic rights, that is something that we must take seriously. And their fear is justified. We've had documented multiple ICE arrests within the recent months, especially in public spaces, sometimes right outside of law enforcement facility. This kind of target enforcement is tearing down families apart and driving our community into silence and isolation. Let's not forget that our undocumented community members, many of them indigenous, are the backbone of our local industry, as the agricultural industry. Their labor contributes to nearly $2 billion annual revenue for this county, yet they face uncertainty for their safety, and their dignity continue to be under threat. Passing this resolution is just not a symbolic, but is a necessary and powerful action. It says loud and clear, Guadalupe stands with the undocumented residents that this city will protect their rights, defend their privacy, and honor their vital contribution to our community. Thank you for your time and for choosing to stand with our undocumented community. Thank you.
Thank you. Next individual is Raul. I don't have the last name. Raul M. Yeah, I think you feel that too. There was Fernando and Rodolfo. Rodolfo? Well, we'll move right along. How about Hortensia Fernandez?
Hello, everyone. My name is Hortensia Hernandez. I've been in the community for many years, working with mostly undocumented people. And I do want to just have a shout out. We do have some people today who really kind of pushed beyond their fear of going to public places and certainly government type places, and are here in support of this resolution. So like Patrick, who I think spoke eloquently, I do also want to just touch on a little bit of history. We do know the history of Guadalupe, and I want to go even a little bit further back to really the history of a small community in southern France in between the years of 1940 to 1944, who together decided to be the people who would support this small contingent of Jews that were coming through. And this is a community that was so small that many people sort of didn't even know it existed. Remind you of something? But nonetheless, they took it as their not only right, but obligation to care for these people who were being persecuted. And they, in fact, were able to save over 5,000 Jews. So I think of that, and as Patrick said, with history, doesn't repeat itself, it rhymes. There's a lot about history that's rhyming now. And I think of this small community of Les Chambon as a way and as a real beacon for us to see how we as a very small community can support the people who are really being attacked now. People who are the foundation of this community, have built so many amazing families, many of us who are part of those families. And so I really encourage you to support this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you, Hortensia. Next individual, Dennis Appel.
Dennis Appel, I'm with La Casa Blanca here in Guadalupe. On June 1st, my wife Tenzi and I will mark 29 years since we began in Guadalupe in an effort to help provide a safety net for those being marginalized by State Proposition 187. 3 decades later, we find responsible, hardworking residents of this city and the entire nation yet again in the crosshairs of those who have no desire to love their neighbors as themselves. Tonight, you will be asked to vote yes or no on a resolution. If I had more than 3 minutes, I could tell you a zillion stories of the struggles and blessings of families in our community. But I will just tell you one as a template for how we each can change lives in our culture by a simple yes or no. Years ago, Tenzi was doing some pro bono work for the American Cancer Society, accompanying women with cancer who, because of their legal standing, did not have access to resources. At one point, she was helping 9 women, all of whom had been diagnosed with cancer while pregnant, and all of whom worked in the strawberry fields. One of the women, Maria, was a new mom with advanced brain cancer that had left her blind and in constant pain. Because of her legal status, she could not access medical care. Tenzi called a number of oncologist offices only to be told they could not help her without insurance. When finally she called the office of Dr. Palchek in Arroyo Grande, she was told that the doctor would clear his schedule that very afternoon, and Maria could come in, no insurance or method of payment needed. When she arrived, Dr. Palchek got down on one knee and taking her hand, addressed Maria, who was sitting in a chair, and asked, Maria, how can I help you?
Take your time, Dennis. You have more than 3 minutes, so don't worry about it.
Before Maria left that afternoon, she had her pain medications, a wheelchair, a treatment plan, and no bill. Dr. Palchek had simply said yes when others had said no. One of the folks who volunteers at our House of Hospitality drives a car with a bumper sticker that reads, "Make America Kind Again." There's a lot of truth in that bumper sticker. We as a society seem to have drifted away from the golden rule that challenges us to treat our neighbor as we would want to be treated. Who of us who has the great fortune to live here unthreatened would want our family to be torn apart by an ICE operation or political environment that has become so harsh and uncaring? If we wouldn't want to live under that threat ourselves, we should not want our neighbor to live under that threat either. Love is the answer. It always has been and always will be. Tonight, we have the opportunity, as Dr. Palchek did, to say yes or no, not just to a resolution, but to a culture of caring rather than a culture of entitlement and disdain. I strongly encourage each individual on this city council to vote yes on resolution 2025-23 and take a small but significant step to help make America kind again.
Thank you. I go back to Raúl M. So no Raúl M. out there. ¿Hay personas pueden hablar en español?
Buenas tardes. Voy a requerir interpretación. No sé si puede venir mi compañero para ayudarme.
Sí.
Sí. Muy buenas tardes, alcalde Julian y miembros del consejo. Mi nombre es Reinaldo Rodríguez, organizador comunitario con el proyecto Mixteco Indígena de la ciudad de Santa María. Hoy vengo ante esta junta de concejal en apoyo a la resolución número 2025-23. La ley estatal BS 54 es clara y respalda a cabalidad los derechos de los individuos independientemente de su estatus migratorio.
Good evening, Mayor Julian, a member of the council. My name is Reinaldo Rodriguez. I'm a community organizer with the Mixteco Indígena Community Organizing Project, MICOP, in the city of Santa Maria. And today I'm here present to support the resolution number 2025-23. The state law SB 24 shows that it's clear that it supports individuals independent of their immigration status.
Cuando hablamos de la ciudad de Guadalupe, rápidamente se nos viene a la mente la agricultura. Precisamente esta actividad requiere grandes cantidades de mano de obra y es la mayor actividad agrícola que aporta a la economía del condado de Santa Bárbara y también de esta ciudad.
When we talk about the city of Guadalupe, I quickly think about the agriculture industry because of the great amount of labor that requires for the agriculture industry to move its economy in the county of Santa Barbara.
Nuestra comunidad indocumentada realiza el trabajo más duro que nadie de los locales se atreven a realizar, sin importar la lluvia, frío, ni mucho menos el calor extremo, porque es la única fuente donde obtienen ingreso para dar una vida digna a sus familias.
Our undocumented community does the labor, the most difficult labor that most local community members are not willing to do. They do this work without caring if there's rain, if there's cold weathers, or if there's or if we have hot weathers, because this is their only way of income.
Ahora, si eso no fuera poco, se suma esta política de control migratorio donde ha venido a meter miedo y angustia a nuestra comunidad, que lo único que ellos hacen es salir a trabajar para ganarse el pan de cada día para sus familias. El miedo es grande, muchos salen con temor a trabajar o a realizar sus compras de canasta básica pensando que al salir de sus casas serán detenidos y separados de sus familias por el ICE.
Now the imminent political threat has brought great fear to our community, when the only thing they want is go to work, go support their family. We have seen that family members are hardworking community members trying to make ends meet and ensure that ensure for their family's well-being. And now there's a threat for separation of families by ICE.
Por lo anterior, pido que se apruebe la resolución número 2025-23, que tomaría un paso significativo y necesario, envía un mensaje claro de que Ciudad Guadalupe está con sus residentes indocumentados, que el ayuntamiento protegerá su derecho, resguardará su propiedad y apoyará sus contribuciones como miembros esenciales de nuestra comunidad.
As mentioned above, I ask the adoption of the resolution number 2025-23 that will take a significant step that is necessary, and it sends a clear message that Guadalupe stands with its residents and the undocumented community. The council or the city will protect the rights, the privacy, and acknowledge the contribution of the essential members of our community.
Gracias por su apoyo y también por estar al lado correcto de la justicia y de nuestra comunidad.
Thank you for your support and your time and for standing on the right side of justice.
Gracias a ustedes. Yeah. Is there anyone else out there that wishes to speak on this item for or against? Okay, we'll bring it back to council.
Take a moment. That was.
No, it's very emotional.
Want to thank everyone for coming today. As an Indigenous woman and council member, I stand in support of this resolution. I know what it's like to be profiled, to feel targeted for simply existing. I've heard the stories, families living in fear, children missing schools because they're afraid their parents might not come home. And that's heartbreaking. No child should ever go through that. This resolution matters. It sends a message that Guadalupe stands for compassion, dignity, and the safety of all residents, documented or not. And beyond this resolution, I remain committed to working alongside our community, our nonprofits, to ensure that immigrant families feel supported, protected, and heard every step of the way. Thank you.
Jean. Sure, please.
I just want to thank everybody that came out in support of this. It's your bravery and compassion that you showed tonight and then that you do every day is doesn't go unheard. I'm glad to know that there's so many people out there in support of this. I did feel when I read the agenda that it was kind of just a formal adoption of our policy, you know, of the state policy. But now with all your support, I understand that it's more than just that. It does send a message, and I'm with Councilmember Hernandez in support of the resolution.
Ile, any comment?
Yeah, I can't say anything more than what was already said. I'm going to lose it. Strongly support, without question.
There's, thank you. And thank everyone else out there. Well, since starting in 2020, we've had food bank operations here in the city of Guadalupe for different places. I know that Dennis and Hortensia had food bank distribution. The school is now doing the food bank distribution. And what I want to point out too is that there's produce, for instance, at the senior center, we've since 3/1/20, the food bank has helped us distribute 120,000 pounds of produce. And every item that was picked by a farm worker. And the total families that were helped within the last 4.5 years was 4,000 families that were helped with this food that was picked by farm workers. And there's a little saying that there's this one kid. There's a big storm in this ocean, and some of you may have heard it. It might be kind of corny, but there's a storm in the ocean, and it pushed up a bunch of starfish out on the shore. And Phil knows this. And this little girl was out there walking and picking up a starfish and throwing it back into the ocean. And some adult came up to her and said, "What are you doing? It's a starfish." And she says, "Well, it doesn't make any difference." She said, "Well, it makes a difference to that starfish." And we're politically, it doesn't bother us. To me, it doesn't bother us in terms of politics. We have, like was mentioned, over 90% of our population is Hispanic, Latino, Mixteco, and everywhere you look, and Chief is there talking about a community that really helps one another. And for me, it's a no-brainer to be able to say we protect and we support, and we are part of this community that is really supportive of our farmer community, regardless of being undocumented or documented. They're human beings. They pay their way. They pay their own way. They produce produce for us that nobody else is going to do. So with that, I'll get off my soapbox. And is there a motion to adopt the resolution?
I motion to adopt resolution 2025-23.
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? May we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Costa Junior,
Aye.
Councilmember Fernez,
Aye.
Councilmember Villegas,
Aye.
Councilmember Hernandez,
Aye.
Mayor Julian.
Aye. And the resolution passes, and we appreciate you all being here. So. Okay. Okay. All right. We'll take a 5-minute break.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Are you gonna stay? Wake up. Okay, it's all right. Let him stay there. Ms. Christina says, I think. Emilio, we're going. Yeah, that's all right. You wait after closed session, you can talk to him. We're gonna go ahead and go. We have a quorum here. The item 11, request by Sam Duarte, Director of the Little House by the Park, to use the Veterans Memorial Plaza for safe and sane fireworks sale. Todd.
So basically, yeah, Sam had filled out the application and does this annually. The setup is Sunday, June 29th. The booth will be open to the public from Monday, June 30th through Friday, July 4th. And the takedown is July 5th, and it'll be at the downtown parking lot. Mr. Sam Duarte requests that the city waive some of the fees shown in the application. Mr. Duarte did not specifically say how much he wanted to waive. At their June 25th, 24 city council meeting, the city council approved a total of $2,315 in rental fees, but reduced it at that meeting by $600 for a total of $1,715, which was $300 off the use of the Veterans Memorial Plaza and $300 off the storage fee behind the police department. I'm just going to put a little statement, if you don't mind. I'll read from the reasoning why I think Mr. Duarte wants some waiving is to show the community benefit. The funding we receive via the fundraiser is the only unrestricted type of funding we receive. This means we have been able to use it to support Guadalupe Union School District and citywide projects, including past community cleanups, focus groups for Guadalupe's park beautification process, provided interpretation for our March 14th community-wide meeting, and are currently bridging access to senior center services through FSA. As an agency, we have also provided letters of support to the Park and Recreation Department, as well as extensive outreach for citywide activities, emergencies, and other services. Let me know if there's anything we could do to reduce a bit of the costs. The only caveat as far as being waived, I know that the chief of police would like to hold the $1,000 for the storage of the fireworks trailer, because there is, liability for storing that. On the second page of the staff report and attached is the breakout of all the fees, and I won't go through them all. We can just look at those. It's really up to the council if you have a desire to waive any said fees. But in total, this application, if we were to accept all the fees, is $2,715. Council's purview to see what your feelings are about this or desires.
I had a question, if I may. I have a question for Chief. On this, on the $1,000, what's that connected to? What's that related to?
Well, that's for storage. For that, we pay attention to that items that are stored behind our facility overnight, and those funds then go to our Explorer program, so we can function throughout the year.
But how does that, do they have insurance? No, Sam will answer that. Insurance, if they store it back there, if there's a problem with the safety, or if there's an incident, is there insurance that covers that?
They're supposed to have insurance, but the other aspects we're always concerned with is either theft or fire. So I don't know how much that insurance would cover those two items, but I know they have to have some kind of insurance. So Sam would have to really answer that.
Now you mentioned a little bit about the 1,000 as it covers part of, you're going to recoup some money for the Explorers.
Yes, that's one of the monies. That's one of the sources of monies that we use for our Explorer program, because as council knows, they volunteer throughout the year, and then they also go to other kind of events, and so they have no other real source of income other than what we either get through our budget through us. So we use that. And they come in on Fridays, so we just make sure that piece of equipment or whatever, the fireworks are definitely safe, stand back there so there's no theft. And we keep our cameras on them and make sure that also no fire. So that's our pretty much is they're taking up space that we would normally put a vehicle in.
That sounds like San Francisco parking lot there, the cost. Okay, he smiles. Okay, good. Any question, Chief, on that specific item? Please.
Chief, just to clarify on the $1,000, is that just a flat amount, or if they if they store the fireworks for less than a week, is it on a day to day, so much per day, or just a flat? Because you know it's a week, it's $1,000.
Yes,
there a schedule?
that's what
I'm asking. Is
yeah,
there a-
it's a flat fee that we've, I think, charged at least for the last 4 or 5 years, $1,000 for the week.
Okay.
Hello? Can they hear me?
We can hear you. Did you
Can
say
hear you,
something, Chief?
Oh, I couldn't hear you guys, so I didn't know if you heard what I said.
Yeah, we did. Thank
Okay.
you. You may have said this and I might have missed it. When this was presented last year, because they do this every year, what was waived?
Yes, the $300 off the use of the Veterans Memorial Plaza
Oh, okay.
and $300 off the storage fee behind the police department. So at that time, you did waive some fees off the storage of it, but you also waived $300 off the use of the Veterans Memorial Plaza, the use of the parking lot itself. So in there, in the details of the fee schedule, you're seeing a one-time use fee of $100, daily rate fee $200 times 7 days, $1,400 for a total recreation department's fee. And then the rest of the next phase of it is the police department inspection, barricade, storage, fireworks, trailer, et cetera. And then the $1,000 storage the chief has in there for a total of $1,215. But for both the downtown parking lot rental and the police aspect of it, in total, $2,715. So I think what they did was reduce some of the daily rate fees plus some of the police storage fees last year.
I have a quick question about that. Oh, excuse me.
No, go ahead.
It's gone up since last year, correct? And is that just the daily rate fees, or is that the storage fees as well?
I know Cynthia put this together based on the fee schedule. I'm not exactly sure why it's a little bit higher than the prior year, to be honest with you.
And just say, our fees have stayed the same.
Okay, so then that answers is the daily rate that went up, not chief's rate.
I can say that every year there's a CPI index increase on a lot of our fees that are just, it's built within the master fee schedule that allows for a consumer price index increase. So that could be why there's more this particular.
Yeah,
time of
that
year.
makes sense. I mean, I know that the rates went up, but chief's rate didn't go up. So that was the consistent part. Okay,
Yeah.
that answers that. So the daily rate went up. And yeah.
Okay, before I say any more, can we have someone come up? Please.
All right, but pretty much everything Todd gave an overview of everything that the money covers. I just wanted to add also that the artist resident last year who worked at Nolfo, who worked closely with the city, that was also provided by the Family Service Agency, which was a community-wide project that he was involved in. Any particular questions that you might have? I mean, it'd be nice to, if we could have 715 deducted, that would pay stipends for parents to be involved, to, volunteer.
How much did you say?
715.
To reduce
If
it
we
by
can
that?
reduce 715 to offer that to our parents for stipends. And, these parents, just FYI, are available to the community. If the city has a particular volunteer program or any other project that they'd like parents to volunteer, they're available for that. So want to make sure that the collaboration is there.
Any questions of Sam? You're reading my notes. I thought on the downtown parking lot, I would push for the total, including the one-time use fee, the daily fee, to a total of $800. And then I know that the explorers are an important part of the community to keep that. Chief, when you talk about inspection of the stand, who does that? Is that one of your fire captains?
Yes, sir. That's the fire department.
Well, I'd probably rather not touch that side of things on the public, on the public safety side, but to reduce the parking lot to the maximum of $800. And you can cut that any way you want, as long as it's.
As long as you
comes
just
out-
that.
That's my
broad amount.
opinion.
Mayor, you're saying the $800
Right.
and then leave the PD inspection, et cetera, at $12.15?
Right.
Okay.
How does that sound?
Sounds great. Thank you. Yep.
2,715 minus 8. 1,915. Is
800 plus 1215?
I'm confused. Oh, okay.
See what I'm thinking though, just for ease.
Please, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, summarize it to the minutes.
No, well, what I would do is just cut the one-time use fee and the daily rate in half. It's $750 off, instead of 700 like you suggested. Cause you said
That's at 800,
it's 800 off or down to 800?
down to 800 total.
Oh, okay.
I was right.
You were right. Okay, so I misunderstood, but yes. So you're cutting it down off by 800.
Yes,
Great.
that's my
Oh,
recommendation.
then that's fine. Yeah, that's less than what I wanted.
Is
So
that a
great.
motion?
That's good. I
Is there,
Okay.
that.
So
okay,
800.
is there a second? Okay. Any discussion?
Who made the motion? Oh, Whitney.
Okay.
Caught that.
Any
Yeah.
discussion? All those in favor of the motion? Let's do the motion again. Is that 1915? Is that?
Yes. Yep. Well, let me do the math. Okay.
How about Janice? You can't figure
Yeah.
that out? We're
800 off the 27.
Same amount for the police people.
The total was 2,715. The total. 15 minus the 800. Right?
Right.
Which would leave you with 1950.
Okay. All those,
But in that 800, how did you want that separated?
they'll figure it out. Yeah. Let
Okay.
Cynthia figure it out. All those in favor of the motion, say aye. All aye. Thank you, sir.
Much appreciated.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, next item is report on the financial and general status of the Royal Theater renovation project. Tom Bradbury.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor Julian, council members and staff and those in attendance here and there.
Okay.
So we're going, before I go into the report and everything else, I would like to apologize for my enormous mistake on documents. Professionally, I feel quite embarrassed by what happened. And I will make sure that will never happen again. You do have the correct documents now. So in walking through the staff report, I wanted to basically go through highlighted the areas, and then if there's any questions or if I've missed anything, please let me know. Obviously, you can stop me anywhere in this process. In walking through the staff report, the main purpose of this report is to update you and give you all of the financial project information so that you are able, when we get to the point of saying this project can move forward, you have all the information you need to make that decision. A little bit of background, which is in the report. It's important to remember that part of the issues that we've had in getting to the gap and in getting to the timeline centered around our original application. So the original application that was submitted requested through the EDA 10 million, because at the time the application maximum was 10 million. We got a letter, the city got a letter indicating that they changed their mind. They had gotten so many project requests, they decided to make it not a $10 million maximum, but it's $5 million maximum. And told us, the city, that to make this project work, we have to come up with that 5 million, change the project to a $5 million project, or cancel the application. That process slowed everything down. We had to go look for 5 million. And so that created what has been an ongoing dilemma of trying to catch up with the amount of money this project needs. And I don't think that's been explained in detail in the past, and I'm not sure if that was explained. So I thought it would be useful today to have that caveat in here. We were lucky enough fairly quickly to get Senate Lamont to get us 5 million out of the general fund. That gave us the amount that was needed. It was useful in a number of ways. One, it was because it went through the California Arts Council. The way the California Art Council works is anytime they give an award, they give you the award and the money. So instead of having what most projects do, having a reimbursement process where you spend the money, send them a request, and they give you the money back, we have that 5 million sitting in the bank. And it's actually been very useful because it's been paying for our soft costs as we get into getting a project up and going. It also helps because for all of the money that's been spent up to date, none of it has come out of general fund, which is very useful. It's also important to understand that during this period, because we are going from 2021 to today, that has also increased soft costs. As we've changed the project, it's increased soft costs. Now, as an extreme example, and this is the only extreme example we have, if you look at Andrew Goodwin Designs, every time we change something, they have to get a new contract and do more work. The original contract we had with them was 280,000, somewhere around that. We're presently contracted with them over $1 million. So 700,000 of that soft cost that's been built up has been built up legitimately because of all of these additional costs as we keep moving along trying to get this project ready to go. There are still a number of funding options that we are working on. And it's important to know that in still working on those, we still have the increases due to COVID, the slowdown due to COVID. It's also kind of important to realize that rehab projects are very difficult in comparison to new projects. So it's difficult to estimate them. Usually you want the estimator to increase them and put some padding in there because you do not know what you got until you open the wall. The other question that we don't know the answer to, and I know it was asked of me, which is the tariffs. At this point, we don't know what the results will be. Once we start buying materials, then we'll have a better idea. I'm assuming that once we get a contractor, they'll have a better idea as well, and it'll be in their price, at least hopefully. Funding updates. Let's talk about a few of the fundings, just so you're aware, again, going backwards, of what we've done and what we've tried to do and what's worked and what hasn't worked. You all know about the GO bond, the GEO bond. It was not pursued. You also, I don't know if you're aware, but we also applied for new market tax credits. We put out a lot of information. We went to a lot of sources to see if there was interest in that. Our consultant at the time indicated that they have had no interest from investors, new market tax credit investors. So that particular funding opportunity went away. It could also come back. If you look, you all had attachment 5. That's directly related to us not getting the funding for the state historic rehabilitation tax credit. Attachment 5, it's basically an analysis that gives you some basic information about why it failed. That is another source of funding that we had tried for but did not get. However, it comes out every year and we can apply even if we're in construction. So there is a possibility of getting it in the future. Basically, that analysis says this. The way they set it up was at 8 o'clock, if your application came into the door electronically, first come, first serve. So looking at who got funded and who didn't, you can tell that the internet was really good to those that got funded. They were in high areas with up and down loads that could take this material. And the funding one, the one that got funded and took most of the money, submitted it at 8 o'clock on the dot. Now, there's no way in Guadalupe or anywhere that I can submit a document at 8 o'clock and for them to receive it at 8 o'clock. And so there's some concerns I have about how they set that program up, and I am looking into it a little bit more. I will say Lamone's office is also interested in why this is occurring. Yes.
I might add, if you submit it at 7:59, you're automatically out.
Yes. Yes.
So you don't
If you press the button too soon and you're thinking timing wise you'll get it, it gets there too soon, you're not going to get it. You're going to be canceled. Thank you. The federal historic tax credits, we are still working on that. There is some movement from the EDA. The EDA had initially said they didn't want that money involved in this project because of the nature of the investment and how the investment works. There is some movement with the EDA, but we're still working on it. It is another example of where we probably can get that money during construction and still be able to use it. I have been for some time been working with foundations, and there are a number of foundations that have agreed to fund, to put some contribution into the project, but they want to see the project moving forward first. And I think we will get some. I doubt anybody's going to give us money at this point that I've sort of to get you the true gap, but maybe something that will contribute, and maybe the capital campaign can help get that money moving. Capital campaign, I'm not up to date. I'm assuming somebody can give some more information on the capital campaign. And then we did start off with an RDA money at the beginning of around 200,000, we thought, and then after some time, we realized we actually have 600,000. So that's the other source of funds that we're sitting on. Again, can be used without touching general fund. So technically we have 5.6 in general, in money that's available, that doesn't need to be used of general fund. Okay. Let me just pull up this one. Lots of notes.
Just to clarify, that RDA money is the money that was set aside
Thank you.
by the redevelopment agency that the city had before it went, before we closed, for specifically for Royal Theater, and that could not be spent anywhere but the Royal Theater.
Well, in going a step further, it requires it to be a performing arts center,
Right, you got it.
not just a
can't-
movie theater.
Right.
So looking at table 1, I wanted to go over table 1, which is all the different estimates that we have. Just to clarify what they are and why we have 5 of them up to now. The first estimate was the one that was completed at the initial application submission date. So when we initially submitted an application, they wanted a cost estimate at that time. So the one that's dated November 2021 is that first estimate. The second one in April of 23 was determined by the city and Andrew Goodwin Designs to say, we need to redo this because it's kind of the 2021 is a bit stale. That's too much of a gap to start without doing a new estimate. So the one from April of 23 is actually just a new one based on the gap between the two. As you can see, the price was significantly higher. And this is because it is at the period of COVID. And COVID was put into the equation. The May 24 one, which is number 3 on this list. It was at this period when we got the second estimate that we started concluding that there may be a need to look at a different project, to potentially look at a 1-story, as Andrew Goodwin Design has suggested, versus the 3-story. This estimate was done at that time to get an idea of what the 1-story, what the 3-story would cost. So this was the new estimate on the 3-story. Its purpose was the EDA says, when we went to the EDA and said, hey, can we do a different project, 3-story versus 1-story? Can we reduce our costs? They said, we have to take this to a committee, and that committee has to approve that change. And what you need to be able to do is to show them that legitimately we can't afford this project unless we change it. And we did that with 2 ways that they requested us to do it. One was to do this estimate. And secondly was to actually submit a bid package out to the community and get a price back. If those prices were higher than we could afford, then the idea was the committee would then approve the lesser project of a 1-story. And obviously, with a 14+ million bid amount plus this estimate, the committee approved a lower project of a 1-story. The February 2025 was giving the estimator the new 1-story plans and say, give me a price.
Question.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to make sure that I'm following the numbers correctly.
I don't blame you.
You said that there was a bid amount received for 14 million. At what date was that bid amount received? Because I don't see it in table 1.
Well, table one is not bids. Table
Okay,
ones are
it's
estimates. Yes.
Okay, so when was the 14 million?
September 2024, I believe, is the date that we had a deadline for the bid to be submitted.
And who submitted that bid to the city?
Contractor? I don't have the contractor's name in handy.
And then how
I
many
can get it
bids
to you.
were received from when the original project was sent out to bid?
One.
Just one, and we don't know the contractor's name?
Not offhand, no, I don't.
I'll look it up for you right now.
Thank
Just
you.
give me a minute.
I will, I'm pretty certain that the 14 million was at, yeah, here it is, due to the outcome. So on page 2, under contract construction estimates. There is a mention of the one bid for 14 million, but I can easily get you the actual bid itself too. But we've received only one bid. The indications from the team and the city and also Andrew Goodwin Designs is that price was high, probably because they were the only bidder.
So then I have another question, follow up on those same numbers. In table 1, Precision is quoted as estimating $10,733,612. But then that's also in table 2 as the bid. Was that estimate converted into a bid?
No, in table 2, just above where
Oh,
it says
that's
one
still
story, it does say construction estimate.
So we're comparing estimates to bids in this table. Got it. Thank you.
We are, yeah.
So we
second
still don't
bid-
have a bid for we don't have any bids for the one story. Got it.
Yeah, we're basically in this report theoretically gets us to the point of you saying, do we want to release the bid to get bids? So there was a little concern with February 2025 because we were under the impression of dropping this project to a one-story project, that would reduce the cost drastically. And if you look at the difference between the 3-story bid and the 1-story bid, we're almost 2 million higher. And so that was a significant problem, obviously, when it came in. And so we had conversations with Andrew Goodwin, which is the designer that reduced the project to get it lower, and Precision, and said, why do we have this conflict between the 3-story bid at 9 million and the 1-story bid at 11? But we have to work on estimates. That's all we have until we get a bid. We asked Andrew and the city, Andrew and Precision sat down in meetings, went over the reasonings that might be behind the difference. Precision did a couple of documents. You'll see attachment 2 and 3 that present these alternatives. Attachment 2 and 3 address items that the construction estimator said were their concerns. So originally I said to them, I want you to do me a document, and this is attachment 2. I want you to give me a document that explains your Precision, your 3-story estimate versus your 1-story estimate, and why the 1-story estimate is 2 million higher. So what you have is a point-by-point 2-page document that gives you their reasonings. The Precision estimator also on his own gave me the attachment 3, which was a document he felt was things where the prices could be lower, things where the plan set could be more clearer, and areas where there could be potential savings. So this is the estimator doing this, and that's attachment 3. The estimator and Andrew Goodwin Designs were asked to sit down together to go over those 2 attachments and to come up with how are we going to reduce the price. How are we going to come up with what is a realistic price? Because we don't have a feasible project if this 1 story is really this price.
I'm wondering if it would be, I don't know if you guys all read the material in this, since we got multiple versions of it, but I wonder if it would just be beneficial to move to questions since it's so much stuff. I just don't know if, going over these numbers after we've all read it is really helpful in this situation, but that's just my opinion.
I would, if council wants to move along, I'd be happy to do that. I would like you to look at attachment 4 before we do that, since this is the crux of where the project is financially.
Okay.
I would also like to just remind you that on the right-hand column, this is just for the purposes of giving you a project. And a comparison is to look at what would have been the actual cost of doing this project if it was a 3-story and we used the single bid that came in at $14,295. So that's what's on the far right. It's there for only that person at precision as a idea of getting you to see potentially what this project could cost. And the middle column being the actual estimation of what we think the project will be. The top, where it says 10,000,007, this is the total cost of the estimate, and it is the estimate that you see as the 5th estimate in the list, and it's the estimate you have as attachment 1. The total for that attachment was 10.7. And then you've got the comparisons. Obviously, these are the soft costs as they presently stand. They total at the bottom almost 3 million. And you can see for the estimate on the right side, it's the same numbers. So if you take the construction estimate, again, assuming it's the correct one, and that will be the actual bid, we have a total project cost of 13.6 million. Going to page 2. This is where I'd like to explain a little bit, so apologizes for being long-winded. But traditionally, when you do a construction project, you have a bid, and if you're clever, you'll have some things that's called deductions or deductibles. And you use those deductibles that if the price of the project that comes in at the lowest bid is higher than what you have as funds, you deduct items from the bid and say, this is what we're going to pay you for because we don't have enough money to pay you for everything. What we did in this particular case, in the last estimate, is we went in a different direction. We asked the estimator to do 2 things. We asked them to give us the price for the base bid. And we asked Andrew and Precision to come up with additional alternates, additional parts of the project that could be put aside and paid for either during construction, because we found funds, or even after construction when the project's up and running. So the 5 alternates were also estimated. Again, estimated. So you now have, which is different from the normal estimation and the normal construction getting ready to what do we need to do this project, has a bid amount for base and then 5 amounts for each of the alternates. The alternates are on your table 3. Inside the estimation that was attachment 1, there is a great deal of detail on each of the alternates. Starting on page 34 of Precision's estimating, you will see a great deal of detail of each of the items that are alternates.
I have a question about the alternates.
Yes.
It does note that they have to be done in that order, but who decided the order of the alternates?
It's not finished.
Okay.
I would assume the council will make that decision.
Great, because the alternate 5 being, well, actually alternates 4 and 5 are audio and visual items, and I feel like that's pretty important for a performing arts center. But so that's just
It's not final,
proposed.
no.
Got it.
It can be moved around, but once it's in the front end and in the construction documents, it has to go that way. So if you add up the estimates of the 5 alternates, they come up to 2,500,000. Which, if you add that to the, the total cost minus the estimates, so the total project cost minus the estimates, including soft costs and hard costs, is 11 million. If you take that 11 million and you minus the source of funds we actually have, you get down to a project gap of 3.1 million. The other thing to look at is the potential. We still have the historic tax credits with the feds, which has a possibility. That's 850. That 850 gets you down to 2.3, but ultimately, if you take the alternates out and say during construction, after construction, we will work on these items, you have a positive number of 193,000. So in other words, right at this moment, again, assuming the estimates are correct, you can start construction because you have the money there. And that's really all I can say at this point is that's there. The reason we can do this is the changing in the alternates, because it allows us to go forward with a contract with a contractor for the base bid. And with that contractor understanding that the alternates are added in when and if we have the funds. Any questions on attachment 4? Also, since I screwed this project, this package that you were supposed to have in detail, in proper condition, I would be happy to come back at the next council meeting and give you more time to review and have more questions, if that works for you guys.
I mean, you got it to us. It's fine. We
Yeah.
just,
Yeah, those numbers are gonna be going all over the place. I would like to look at table 3 and look at the alternates. Now,
yes,
was it, correct me if I'm wrong, did EDA set this is what you're gonna do first, or is it up to us to?
No,
Okay,
what
we-
happened is I went to Andrew in Precision and says, you don't have, as it presently stands, we don't have enough money to start this project. You need to reduce this project down further
Right,
by
using
creating
okay.
alternates. And the 5 alternates are basically the work of Andrew and Precision. I will say that as the alternate stands right now, and the reason they're in the order they are in is because that was the design team's order.
Okay.
So if we want to change it, I don't think the design team would have a problem with it, but they may have some kind of a design issue of, no, we can't do that first, we have to do this first. There may be something in there, but I can work with the design team and the council and come up with the order that they need to be in.
On alternate 2 that's noted on the table 3, it says new building full interior. Are we gonna have that building, and this is just for the interior after it's built?
So yes, in
Okay.
other words, the exterior, the studs will be there.
Right, okay,
But that's it.
okay.
There won't be a green room, just the studs. The other thing, just to remind you, this is the estimate that you have.
Right.
In starting on page 34, each of these alternates are described in detail.
Okay.
So between 34 and 50, you have each of these items
Right.
in that order with more
specific-
scope detail.
Okay,
That should give you an idea of what each of these alternates are, what the scope of them will be. And of course, there are still things, so even though the back building will be studs, it still has to be ADA approved because the front building is not ADA approved.
right.
So we still have to have ADA issues addressed. So it's not a complete empty building in the back.
You know, one of the things, if you looking at, and I think with Whitney's mentioning like alternate 4, you can build a building if you don't have, refurbishing the existing. And if you can't hear anything or you can't do anything, it just doesn't.
Yeah.
What's the purpose of it? Yeah,
Well, I would agree, especially the audio in the theater.
right, yeah,
The audio in the theater is critical to move forward. If we're going to assume, and I think it's fair to do this, that we are not going to have all money by the time we open.
Mhm.
There will be alternates that have not been paid for.
right.
And so we have to make that assumption. One other thing that's on my agenda is there was an email that came in with questions from the public that I saw.
You have a request to speak too, so I don't know if that,
No, I think it's different.
well, there's one from Maria.
Maria's not here.
No, she's not.
Okay. I want to make sure I answer those because there's a critical issues in those 2 questions. Other than that, I can sit down.
Why don't you address that?
Okay, all right.
Go ahead.
So,
Go
no,
ahead.
no, I mean, I
Go
don't
ahead.
know. I have lots of questions. I don't know when you want me to get to them, but I mean,
Yeah,
we can
yeah,
start
yeah.
with Maria Elena.
Yeah, Maria Elena.
Up to you.
Yeah, let's,
Do you want me to read?
yeah, read it,
I'll read it.
so everybody knows.
Okay.
I
From
have
Maria
it
Elena.
somewhere.
Yeah.
She just had suggestions. Is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so she says, the Lompoc Theater project broke ground earlier this month. It would be a great idea for someone to establish a relationship with someone down there to sort of mentor us through our project since they are a few steps ahead of us. We'd be able to ask them questions as well as have them guide us through the process/timeline. This could be assigned to a city employee, but if not feasible, can be a volunteer on the Royal Theater campaign committee such as myself. Links to the Lompoc Theater website. And then she says, normally with construction bids, this is a separate bullet. Normally with construction bids, you are recommended to get at least 3 bids. A suggestion that could shave some costs would be to seek out at least 2 more bids for the new 1-story design. Thank you all. I really appreciate your time.
Well, the problem with bids, they're bids, so if somebody's not gonna bid, you're not gonna get,
Oh,
yeah.
and for clarity, we don't have any bids.
Right, but you did the first time.
Yes.
We did the first time, you only got one, yeah.
Yeah, just to be clear, we don't have bids at this point. So she was indicating that we should get,
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
You want a copy?
She says normally with construction bids, you are recommended to get at least 3 bids. A suggestion that could shave some costs would be to seek out at least 2 more bids for the new 1-story design. And then following up, it was noted by Todd that we have not gone to bid for the 1-story design yet.
Yes. So just for clarity, we haven't gone to bid, so there is no bids at this point. In regards to the second one, I've been working with Mark in Lompoc for some time. Lompoc city manager and supervisors asked if I would go over there and help them. So I do have contact with them, but I do think that the committee, they're a non-profit project. We are a capital campaign for a city facility, fundamentally different, absolutely, completely different. However, the capital campaign is closer to them than the normal project we do. So they have a lot more capital campaign knowledge than the city does. So I think there's great value in making that connection.
I actually have a connection with the folks that are working at the city or at the Lompoc Theater. And I spoke with them regarding not only the capital campaign, but the project. And they actually hired a group to run their capital campaign, and it still hasn't been very successful, but they actually moved their project into phases, and they are about, I think, 10 years ahead of us on their project. It's slow going, but I believe they're in phase 2, which means when Maria Elena mentioned that they broke ground, that's on their phase 2. Their phase 3 is not fully funded yet, and they are still actively pursuing money for that.
And for clarity, they have only opened up 3 recently, and it's a $10 million phase, which they don't have. So that was the end of those questions I had.
You had a question. Let's go for it. Let's go for it. Okay.
I'll start with an easy one. It's with the soft cost number. Does that number, it's a $2,929,111 soft cost number. That number in your tables remains unchanged, although you do note that there's a $500,000 increase for the design services and whatnot. Does that number include all the soft costs throughout the project to the end? Or is that just year to date or
Those are contracts.
projects?
Those are contract amounts.
Okay, so that number won't change?
Well, if I ask Andrew to do another part of the
Yeah,
project, then
yeah,
yes.
of course. So was that, so that was $500,000 less? I can't remember where you put that note because I received a couple different things, but you did have 500,000 increase in design costs. Is that straight to Andrew Goodwin?
Yes, and in fact, it was larger. That was
Okay.
where I think it's actually more like 900,000 that he's had for numerous changes in the project that we've hired him to do.
And do we have a full accounting of that $2.9 million soft cost? Like, do we know what each of, what contracts and what numbers add up to that amount?
Yes, I sent you a spreadsheet.
You did, and there was missing information.
You did, yeah, but I don't think you ever told me what was missing, so I can't
Well,
answer that.
I can't answer it because I don't either, but I do.
I will say there is no missing information.
Mm-mm.
So now show
Don't
me.
say that. No, it's so your invoices were out of sequence. So specifically to you. So there was, let's say, and invoice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I had 1, 2, 4, 6, 9, 8, etc. with missing invoices. So I actually reached out to Janice and she provided that information. So the information you provided to us was not correct.
I can't tell you where that came from, but it is the accurate numbers that I have.
You can look on the spreadsheet you sent me because it is not complete. I can tell that at a glance.
I will look at it
Yeah.
and I will respond to everyone.
Great.
For that.
Sounds good.
Yep.
But yeah, so it did not, with that that information that was missing, and I know it's missing because I got the information somewhere else. I don't feel confident in the numbers you sent. So I'm wondering if there is a better accounting of the soft costs and maybe Janice has that. Do you not, are you the only person that keeps the track of the numbers?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sure I have it, but I don't have it like in a deep, in a way that you guys would read it. I'm sure.
I
have all the
think there
information.
needs to be oversight on that because again, I at a glance, and I'm not an accountant, but I definitely have there it was not complete. It was missing, and I can't get to the number that's here. So I'm just hoping that we can maybe have a better accounting of that somehow, like maybe send it to Janice. I'm just not sure. I mean, I looked at it and I'm like, this is gonna be a gnarly project.
Yeah, so what's concerning to me is I don't believe my accounting is gnarly.
Oh, you don't?
No,
Do you want to pull it up?
I do. I do because the problem I'm having is you've given me nothing.
What do you mean?
Show me the spreadsheet. That's
Okay.
gnarly. I've never seen it.
I have a question.
So I have no
If-
way of knowing.
Send it to me. You
I
have
sent
it.
you, I sent you an accurate one. You're
No,
saying
you-
it, but
it's
you've never
not.
shown me where it's not accurate.
You have it. It's inaccurate.
Okay, you're saying I was missing some of my invoices.
Yeah, and so that
Anything
makes
else?
me believe that you are missing who knows what else.
Any
Because you're
other
the
missing
only-
invoices?
I'm sorry?
Any other missing invoices?
There could be.
So what you're saying is that you have a concern for this spreadsheet,
Project
for
and
this- for
spreadsheet
this
and-
spreadsheet,
Uh-huh.
for this spreadsheet, because one of my invoices, two of my
Multiple.
five of my invoices.
Let's pull it up.
Yes, please. Because I really do want to know,
Yeah.
because
well,
if you're correct, just like at the beginning of this thing, I will sincerely apologize.
I
But you're
am
telling me something that you're not giving me anything back.
Because I don't
That
trust
mean-
your accounting.
That means you're accusing me
No, it's
without evidence, because it's
Sir,
not coming to me.
You sent the spreadsheet.
I understand
You
that.
Mayor?
could look at it.
Okay.
Could I,
let's-
make a
let's-
suggestion?
We need to
The
get,
city has all of this
Yes.
payment information, council member, everything that's been paid, the
what-
city has. We can provide you with an accounting from the city side and then we can compare it to what Tom's provided. I don't think it's very productive to do that right now because we're not able to provide you with that information, but
I
we
agree.
will be able to, I mean,
I've asked for it multiple times.
well, okay, I didn't know that. We will get it for you. We'll make it a priority. The soft costs are estimates for one thing. They're projected forward. We have Andrew Goodwin, we have me, we have Tom, and we have the potential, what else is included is the construction management. When we finally get to that, that's a soft cost. And then there's other
Our
soft costs involved.
consultants, legal services.
Yeah, there's a bunch of soft costs and so, we haven't incurred all of them yet, so it is just an estimate going forward. And I understand what you're saying. You're not sure if what's been reported up to date is accurate, but okay. But that doesn't mean that the future cost is not accurate, is for what we're,
I think I received projected future costs. I had originally asked for to date. So this number doesn't include this is supposed to include the projected costs, and I don't have that information either.
there's it's in addition to this report, there's a lot of other stuff that's been provided at different times to the council. This isn't the first update that's happened. I know that information is out there and, we will certainly get that for you. If I hear you correctly, you want a complete accounting of all expenses up to the present from all the consultants
And projected.
and the projected
Softcast.
amounts. Okay, I know that exists, so we will get that for you. And we'll get it to the whole council and the
Have I
public
not
as well.
asked for this?
The projected soft costs are in the documents here.
Which page?
In
And
attachment
which
4,
version?
in attachment 4. In attachment 4, you will see an amount of 2.9 million. This is the total soft costs that's based on,
2.929111, that one?
yes.
I know, I already said that. I want to know what that consists of. That's the number I'm working off of.
It consists of all of these individuals' contracts.
So that attachment 4
Yes.
does not have. That just shows capitalized like, this is not a full accounting. This is a generalized number.
These are the contracts.
So this is the numbers, the city inspector has an amount of 85,000 that we've agreed as part of the project that we will pay for inspection fees of the project.
Okay,
The design team presently, and the project, well, we lose the project manager, which is me, is 300,000. That is the contract that I've signed.
I
It will
have a
never be any
comment.
more than that. So
Sure.
these numbers are based on that.
Understood. They do not add up though. Do you see how there is no one at the end of these numbers and it ends in 111? I can look at that at a glance and see that those do not add up to that number.
Oh, yeah, it's just the accounting of the numbers that are showing.
The totals.
I want to see specific numbers that have been paid to date with the projected end of, through the end of the contract and how it adds up to that number. It does not add up. I am
Well, the
good
number
at
wouldn't
math.
So am I. The numbers wouldn't add up. The numbers wouldn't add up if you're asking me to do it that way. But if you're asking for a line item that says, how much are we paying to this individual or this company? How much have we paid them and what is left over?
Yeah.
I can give you that easy.
I've been asking for that. I've been
Not to
asking.
me.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry.
So the information I received from you was inaccurate. That led me to believe that your numbers were wrong. I have asked Todd for numbers. I have asked Janice for some numbers. Now Janice did provide what I asked for. This
Oh,
does
if
not
you-
add up.
If you had if you had actually emailed me in the many emails I've sent to you, that you are concerned about my numbers and you would like me to redo them or look at them more closely, I'd be happy to have done that.
I don't trust you.
That's the issue.
Exactly.
And now we
I don't
need
think
to,
it's productive.
and now we need to get
I
to
don't
the
think
real
that's
issue
productive.
because I am the project manager. And
So I have
as
more
the
to say.
project manager, you have to trust me.
No, let's-
Sorry, go
Phil-
ahead.
Phil mentioned we'll get those numbers. So, and then the contract information regarding these alternatives, so.
Yeah, I think moving forward, excuse me, I have some asthma. I think moving forward, it would just be nice to have that information available easily. Accessible.
All of the information related to the project finances is in one folder in the drive.
But I guess coming from
That-
staff, from our staff, from Janice, making sure that, because she has all that information already in accounting. So just making sure she just pulls it down and shares it with us.
I would like it from staff as well.
When you say as well, would you prefer just staff?
Yes, I would like it from staff as well as Ms. Hernandez would like it from staff.
And so just, am I hearing the council say just anything related to the finances of this project should come from staff and not me?
We're just,
Is that what we're saying?
just this portion, just right here, just to get some clarity. If there's some ease, just make sure to get some clarity.
It's really difficult to be a project manager on this project and have distrust from the council.
Not just from the council, but a lot of it's from the residents as well.
I'm paid by the council.
Great. The residents, this is the project for the residents.
But we're getting this information from Janice, so.
But I have
From
more
finance.
questions not related to finances.
Go ahead, what's your,
I would like a specific EDA requirements and a comprehensive list of what is required before we can start construction.
Is that a question?
It's a demand.
Yes, okay. Okay, I can get that to you.
Great. And then, if this project doesn't get completed, what is the city on the hook to pay back?
Probably the RDA money.
And what's that amount?
I don't know how much is spent at this point. That's an internal accounting. Whatever's been drawn from the RDA money, I would suspect would need to be put back.
I'm not sure about that.
I'm
It's
not
being
either.
used for a purpose that was permitted by the bonds. That's what that money was for the bonds, and this is a permitted purpose. I already got a legal opinion on that a while back when we started, so I don't think that's the case. The question would be the CAC money, because we wouldn't have gotten any EDA money to give back. And so
Yeah, we would be on the city would be on the hook for the EDA, for the CAC money. It is legislatively given, so it's not part of a law or a regulation or a funding program like the EDA. So it's theoretically able to go back to the legislature and say, forgive it. And that's possible,
Which we don't want to do. So-
which you don't want to do. No, no.
I just feel
And
like
I would suggest even in this room, I would suggest that you have a project to
Can I
move
make a
forward now.
comment? I think a lot of this distrust or whatever, and I'm not questioning any of that or whatever, but it just seems to me we have something to salvage here with the team of people we're working with. And I think there's a way to work with staff, Tom to continue with this coordination and present stuff to the city council in a way. If you're missing something, we can certainly, to me, it seems like, let's build it. We have to do alternates later.
Well, it has to be solved if
Yeah.
we don't, if we're asking.
No, we
uh,
can't, yeah.
Asking for capital campaign efforts.
Yeah.
If you don't have the base in terms of what you're
Right,
looking
and
for. so.
I think that's probably information that could be readily available, I would think. I'm just trying to come up with a workable solution with the group that we have in place right now.
So sad because everybody I've reached out to be on the capital campaign does not want to be. We have not picked a chair because nobody trusts this project is gonna happen. Like, I think it really needs to be discussed. Like this,
Oh, no, I think it does, but I think.
this
I don't think there's-
information
I don't think all
overload.
things are bad. in-
The information overload we received is unacceptable. This is the worst information I've received on a project, and I have worked on projects, big facilities projects. I just don't see how there's no oversight. Like, it sucks. It's gnarly.
Well, I think there's a point here where you need to decide whether you can find somebody else to do this other than me.
Yeah.
Because we can't keep going in this kind of situation with me in this as a project manager under these conditions.
I
It
agree.
doesn't work.
I think that the project needs to be audited at like from top to bottom.
In the meantime, March 2027.
It's our date.
I just don't think we're gonna get there. I have
I
no
think we
faith.
are, but
Yeah,
I also
I do
think
too.
that if these things come along like they are coming along, then they won't. So you need somebody who you can trust.
That not
that-
me,
that who
the
you-
city.
No, who you can trust, because
No,
you're
the
the one
city.
that's cannot trust me. You've said it.
If I could just say something, I've been with the team from the beginning on this, Councilmember Furness, so has Todd, and the mayor's been involved in a lot. This project wouldn't be even as far along if it wasn't for Tom.
It's fine, but that doesn't
And
make me trust him.
I understand that, but let us try to regain your trust by providing you with the information that you asked for from staff, and we'll provide you with whatever we whatever we have that will answer your question about where we are to date. Tom has been a valuable part of this project, and like I said, I don't think we would have a project if it wasn't for him. He had knowledge that none of us had, and we're as far as we are because of that. And it kills me to have to interfere or insert myself in this, but I've been sort of on this project from the beginning, and I've seen it, and I've seen the ups and downs and how we've had to struggle to find a project, and we finally get to a point after some serious doubt when the general obligation bond didn't go forward. We really had to scramble to put something together, and the team met and said, we're going to find a way to make this work and bring something that will work. Andrew came up with a one-story project that seemed to help solve some problems. Tom's been working hard with the EDA to get them to consider the historic tax credit funding and making progress. And we've been doing everything we can. Tom, I know, is committed. I'm committed. I know Todd's committed. And I know you are all committed to seeing this project move forward. This presentation was supposed to just be an update to show you where we are. And I'm sorry that we weren't able to answer all your questions. And unfortunately, I hate to say it, but there's some members of the community that have expressed their open dissatisfaction with Tom and being involved in this project. And that's unfortunate because, like I said, I don't think we really have at this point someone that can replace him we can meet the EDA's requirements and get a package out. And I don't know how close we are to that, but I think we've been working on the documents. I know the city engineer has worked on the documents. I've looked at them and adjusted some, we have to check with our insurance, a couple of final points. We're ready to move forward. We were waiting for this estimate to let us know, and we got the estimate, and now we've actually got some good news. Now, we may not have all the alternates, but then at least the capital campaign committee will have a knowledge of what funding is required. And then we should be able to get this project going by this summer, I think. I mean, not this summer, the fall. If we get the ball rolling on these, on the bid, and now we can, and I think we can do that.
And
So,
unfortunately, some of the aspects of the alternates, it might cost even more, but at least we can get I guess, the bones of the building together, and we can work on a capital campaign to finish it out and to add those components through a capital campaign. That's what I'm thinking. I don't think, I know there's personality for sure, but I don't think there's anything nefarious going on from what I can see. But again, we're all human, and we're probably not perfect in how we can present things. Yeah.
well, it sounds like we're gonna get the numbers. And
Yeah.
also,
I mean, I'm sure.
I'm sorry, I
Yeah, we
apologize.
apologize,
We weren't really planning on doing what you were expecting. We were planning on just updating the council on where we're at, so that basically this was supposed to be a good news presentation. We're ready to go. We've got a project. We can move forward. It wasn't intended to be in the weeds. I understand now that that was your expectation. And apologize for not meeting it. That wasn't our understanding of what this was about, but you can count on us providing with what you want. Okay, we're gonna point now that we need to move forward, because we've got a couple people that want to say things out there, and please. I've been involved with this for quite a while, and I've been in the loop in terms of emails and information from Tom, and I don't think anybody else could do what you're doing now. Now, if there's some concerns about the financial side of things, we'll get to that. And then we can go forward. But I've seen even with the EDA money, I mean, the state money, we wouldn't be able to get that without your input. And so we just need to clear the air, see where we can fine tune this, and make sure that all the council is appraised of where we're at financially, because we're responsible. The buck stops with us. So if you don't mind yielding to these ladies, that you have Melanie. Melanie? I know, I heard.
Okay.
I heard.
Good evening. My name is Mira. I would also just like to quickly, I wrote some things down, but I do just want to start by saying I have also been involved and active since the very beginning of this. And I think that I appreciate the sentiments that are shared, but you can look into that room and you can see there's no one there. That room should be packed with community members who feel impassioned and encouraged to be here and to speak. And that is not the sentiment that is shared when I go and speak to other community members and involved and interested parties. And I think that that is an example of that. I'd like to start by saying that I agree with everything that Councilmember Furness has brought up, and emphasizing that the information provided in the report tonight leads to more questions than answers. And that's a really unfortunate reality given the timing constraints of successfully completing this project. I'm unsure how you can give a status update of a project without the information to actually provide a status update. While I have many thoughts, I'd like to focus my time this evening specifically on the capital campaign and other funding efforts, particularly as a member of the current capital campaign committee. It is difficult to read that the city has struggled to address the overall cost of the projects when many committed community members have offered up their time, efforts, contacts, and connections over the past year plus in an effort to raise the necessary funds and have been met with very little engagement or encouragement from the city and the current project management team. In regards to the latest efforts of the Capital Campaign Committee, the committee still has been unable to move forward in any meaningful way due to the limitations of collecting any funds because the city has not finalized an MOU with the Guadalupe Community Action Committee as the fiscal agent, meaning we couldn't even accept funds even if somebody wanted to give them. Furthermore, even after requesting updates and details on the MOU and the timeline, no further details have been provided outside of it being a future agenda item for City Council review. Given the time constraints and the necessity of these funding needs as outlined tonight in the status report, it is discouraging to feel as though this is an item that is not a top of mind for the city or the GCAC. The committee has also stalled out on multiple attempts to collect necessary financial information that would be a formative piece for any fundraising efforts. None of the above was mentioned in the report regarding the capital campaign, which highlights the extent of the communication gap between the current project manager and the community members who have dedicated time and energy into assisting with the necessary fundraising efforts. This lack of communication and urgency in regards to the capital campaign has been going on for over a year and has resulted in lost momentum, engagement, and support.
Melanie, you yield the rest of your time to her?
You don't have to. I'm almost done. I stand here tonight urging the city to take serious efforts to audit the entirety of the project up to date and to come up with a comprehensive plan on how to move forward, including a date in which the city will vote on an MOU with the GCAC and what steps the GCAC will take to communicate with the current capital campaign committee and make concrete plans on how to successfully raise the necessary funds before this opportunity passes and the project is unable to be completed in its entirety. Thank you.
Thank you.
I am Melanie Backer, a resident of Guadalupe. And as a capital campaign person, we did get together 2 months ago and we did ask for exact numbers and they were never given. We were offered a phone call, but we wanted to see numbers. We've not seen any numbers. And I know Councilman Furness also wanted to see how much, you know, an accounting of how much has been spent out of the 5 million that's in the bank account and everything else. But I appreciate being here. And I think everyone can agree that an undertaking of this size of getting the EDA and all of this money is immense. And just the success that Tom Brandberry and the city to secure all this initial funding of this project should be celebrated for the massive accomplishment that it is. Yet it feels through all these successes, it's been clouded by the ability of the city administration to admit that the current progress of the project and the ability to hit the finish line successfully has stalled out. Partly due to avoidable errors and decisions made by those currently in charge of the project because of lack of communication, lack of transparency, inconsistent and inefficient information, and the lack of real oversight. Now, while we can't dwell on the past, it feels crucial to acknowledge that there have been missteps, and let's get on the path for the Royal Theater project to see it through completion. And it feels in jeopardy right now because of this current report. So with the capital campaign, we need to get real tangible updates on the current financial status of the plan, of the project, updated timelines, and an understanding how the city will improve communication and community with the community and re-engage all of those that we invited to come tonight. We invited the whole capital campaign. They're tired. They were into it last June and May and June, and they're tired. Want to bring back the hope and excitement that we all had at the beginning of this endeavor before it's too late. And I know firsthand how community theater and the arts changed my life as a kid, and it changed the life of all my friends. And I see that in the kids that walk by my office in Guadalupe, looking at their phones when they could be doing theater or dancing or being out with kids and running around. So I don't want this opportunity to go away. We just have to think about the community and the surrounding areas deserve to see this space come to life, and the council members step in and get involved for this to happen. Thank you. And I think we can do it. We have to know what's going on. Thank you.
Thank you. When the redevelopment agency first set aside money for this project, it's 20 years ago, 20-something years ago, with the same goal, is to fix a theater. And I think Councilman Fernandez brought up some good points, and the staff hear that. And this has to be on the top of our priority list, along with other things that we're doing, but it has to be brought forward in terms of getting real numbers so that there's trust that's of the city. And then we can work with any individual that's out there that may have to answer some questions. But I think I'm sure the project is going to move forward. It's just a matter of getting down to the nitty gritty and see where we're at. So, Tom, you want to come back up?
I think unless there's questions, any more questions?
Not now. I think
Okay.
I think Whitney brought up some good points in terms of what we need to get to where I do not want to see the capital campaign committee going away. It's like we planted a seed, you got to water it, you got to fertilize it, you got to make sure that there's no weeds going around. And I think that's what we need to do.
The capital campaign posting, we wouldn't have finished Leroy Park if it wasn't for the capital campaign that LADG ran. They got us 600,000 to finish that project. So capital campaigns are really important, and we've done a capital campaign in this community successfully. So it can be done. I first came to Guadalupe as a state employee to audit this city, which I thought was quite funny. That was in the 2000s, the early 2000s. And when I first saw downtown, I love this place. This is fabulous. And then around 2015, an old city manager from a town that I worked with in the Central Valley came to me and said, would you come over here and help us with Leroy Park? Because the city had submitted an application and it wasn't successful. And I consider that the period that Guadalupe became my black hole, where I just slipped into it, and I've been here ever since. I would live here if I could. This is one of the most fabulous communities I've ever met. And I will tell you this, today, my heart went so much more watching you guys dealing with the undocumented issue that we have to deal with. You broke my heart. You were so good in dealing with that, and the community as a whole. If I can't be this project manager, I can walk away. I'm retired. I've been retired for 10 years. This is what I've been doing in my retirement. I'll walk away. If I can't get your trust, if you can't sit down with me and talk, then it's a waste or any more of a demand than you've given me. I understand. If that can't, I'm telling you that this project can't work if you're going to be that person you are right now. And not an unwilling, it's an unwillingness to work with me on the issues you have. You have a lack of trust. And I would appreciate for this to work, for this project to finish, for you and I to sit down and do a face-to-face to work that through, which I've asked you in an email before.
Okay. And
So you guys.
You never
guys can do it.
replied.
You can do it. Come on.
You never replied. I know, I understand that part of it. I do. I agree. I just don't see a project working when the degree of distrust you have for me to work.
I think we need to get to another point where
Yeah.
if,
Well, I think
Yeah.
there's just so much
Mhm.
passion for this project that,
Yes.
and that's what I'm saying, for your, you have a lot of passion and it's exciting. You know what, honestly, when I look at this, I just, honestly, I could turn this around as, this is such passion. And it
This-
can be a great thing. And I
this-
think,
yeah.
I think it could be looked upon. Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
we're gonna get the information
We'll get-
Agreed.
that you've requested.
Yeah.
I don't,
Okay.
unless there's other questions, I'm
I
good.
think, great, we'll get it. We'll get whatever we can.
The city of Guadalupe, it's a hard community to get people involved, even to volunteer. And there's already a lot of distrust. So it's just us building that trust within our community that I think might not be there, that needs to be there. And so we got a lot of work to do. And I think this is just one of the first steps that we got to do to work with our community, build those relationships, build trust, build transparency. And I think we have a few things that Janice is going to bring back to us to hopefully move forward with them.
Yeah, I just want to say that, I was only asked for one thing. I haven't been asked for all of it, but I do have all of it. So,
Oh, and
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I just want to say that the MOU for the
Right.
GCAC and the city, I couldn't get it done in time for this meeting. It'll be ready for the next meeting. Actually, it would have been done, but Tom made some excellent edits and made me realize I was not doing it right. So I had to fix it. And I didn't have time to meet the deadline, but it'll be on the next agenda. Hopefully with the gift policy too, although that can probably wait if necessary, but I've been working on that
Okay.
in conjunction with it too. Just so that the members of the public that expressed some concern about that is moving forward and it will be the next meeting. Okay, any comments? Any further comments? So we got Todd, you work with Janice and Tom. But we need bottom line is the city needs to get to those bottom, the figures that we're looking, that we need to have before there's that trust out there in terms of finances. And it's not the first time that
Right.
people have said, what are you doing with the money?
Right.
Not about this project, but other projects. So. All right.
All right.
Any further comments from anybody? Are you there, Chief Cash? Are you gone? He's gone. Okay.
He's there.
He's there. Okay.
He's hightailing it.
Just in time.
I'm sorry, I'm just trying to pack my conference materials. That's all.
All right, okay. All right, future agenda items. Well, this one needs to be up on top.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I mentioned the MOU will be up,
May
and hopefully the
27th?
gift policy on the 27th.
And the Park and
Uh,
Recreation meeting.
Yes. I gotta make sure that they can meet here, so check to see their schedule.
Well, whoever, there's
Yeah,
one or
whoever
two, it
can,
doesn't matter, as
yeah.
long as there's that commitment on our part.
Oh,
Okay, Chief, thank you.
Cops money?
Oh,
Well, that's up to you.
Um,
Well, it sounds
actually,
like you need to work.
Present
Yeah,
the
we'll work
budget,
with
so
you
we'll-
on
we'll
that.
Work with it through the budget.
Through the budget, yeah.
It'll be it can be a narrative through the budgeting process. You can present it.
Okay, announcements, council activity reports. Amelia, anything?
Yeah, I attended that transit consolidation meeting a couple weeks ago, which was very good. It was very plainly discussed. It was interesting. And then I also attended the National Prayer Day, which was on May 1st.
Whitney, anything?
Oh, just the capital campaign committee
has Okay. been
regularly meeting.
Okay, all right. Okay. Okay, well, that's coming, so. Jean, anything?
No update.
Nothing? Okay, with that, food bank, because it's peak season now, we only saw 173, but, it's gonna start picking up when the, beyond peak season. We also have, Councilman Hernandez is gonna attend the North County SB CAG meeting tomorrow. Thank you for doing that. And then Thursday, we have SB CAG in Santa Barbara and APCD meeting, Area Pollution Control District meeting, in Santa Barbara. So that's a moving project. Is there a motion to adjourn to closed session?
I'll motion to adjourn the closed session.
Is there a second?
Oh, I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
We don't need chief here?
Nope.
Bye, chief.
Bye,
Bye,
chief.
Chief.
See you guys in a week.